Hi, it's Yasser Tamer. I'm a student in the Department of English and Comparative Literature at the American University in Cairo. Today, I'm gonna talk to you about tips to facilitate equitably online. But before I do that, let me draw on the chapter by Bali and Zamora in 2022 that talked about intentionally equitable hospitality as critical instructional design. In this chapter, they underscore that learning spaces have their own power dynamics, including institutional cultures. And here we want to avoid this. We want to ensure that every voice is heard and everybody has a meaning of contribution. Whether you are a participant from the global south, global west, Muslim, Christian, Jew, whether you have a sexual orientation, whether you have a disability or without disability, you are actually welcome to participate in the learning space or generally online. So a facilitator is responsible to ensure that learning spaces are equitable. And here are my tips to do so. Number one, I believe that there has to be always diverse engagements in the facilitation process. So you are not to organize a session that is sort of lecturing based or that is facilitator centered. Rather, we invite you to facilitate something that is interactive, that is welcoming for each and every perspectives of your participants. So in my Fest 22 and 23, most of the sessions invited participants to share their own perspectives through Google Docs, through Padlets, through blogs. And the facilitators, as well as the organizers, were very keen to have everybody contribute. Number two is diverse engagements. And diverse engagements is that we all meet from different parts of the world and we all have different opinions and beliefs, and this also shouldn't prevent us from from coming together and sharing our own perspectives without bias and prejudice. um yes, we might have challenges that emerge within the sessions or the learning spaces, but at the end of the day, we should foster diverse learning, diverse perspectives. We should invite the intercultural context to be our own, guiding principle, in the sense that all of us are here to learn and all of us are here to contribute equally and equitably. Number three is accessibility. And this is a very controversial part of every session. Controversial is not here, you know, said with its sort of negative connotation. Rather, I say it with a very positive connotation because it introduces a nuance. So, for example, if you notice that you have a visually impaired in your room, or perhaps we like online space, and this visually impaired requires to have alternative text, but your slides lacks them. How can you make sure that, how then can you know that their participation is ensured? It's actually not ensured, and they have the sort of um, inability to contribute meaningfully within your session. For example, if you also have a deaf person in your session and you don't have captioning enabled, this is also another barrier for them to meaningfully participate. So accessibility is recognizing that everybody can see and access your material without any barriers, without any bias within, because you also sometimes you might have inaccessible language that you're using too many jargon, that you're using too many complicated terms. So accessibility does not stop at the disability uh, point, but it has also another connotations. Um, so within the accessibility, also we might say that it's so hard for a facilitator to always act accordingly, which is fine, which is okay. But what we're asking for is that a facilitator should be ready to always ask the person who's different or who's not also different, ask generally whether you people or participants will have accommodation requests or not. By asking this question, you're making your spaces engaging, you're reassuring your participants that there is some willingness from the organizational part that I am intending to make your learning more smooth. So, yeah, to just recap, equity in facilitation is very important, and I've mentioned a few tips that hopefully can contribute to facilitation, uh, such as diverse engagements, um, accessibility, and inclusive participation, which is actually the idea of welcoming everybody in your learning spaces. I hope that was beneficial and that gave you a bit of an idea about how you can start on making your online learning equitable or an online facilitation more hospitable for people, regardless of where they come from or backgrounds or perspectives or anything. Thank you.